Shots fired at a school in Texas. We have the latest. Students gathered on campus to protest for reproductive rights, and Governor Stitt joins other Republican governors at the Mexican border. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Mecca Thompson.
And I'm Katie Arata. We begin tonight with the latest on the school shooting in Arlington, Texas. OU Nightly's Alyse Jones has been following this story this afternoon and joins us live at the update desk. Alyse, can you tell us what happened?
Katie, the shooting happened this morning at Mansfield Timberview High School in Arlington, Texas, when a fight broke out between students. One of those students pulled out a handgun and opened fire.
The suspect, 18-year-old Timothy George Simpkins, is in custody after a manhunt across North Texas. There were 4 people injured, 2 students and 2 adults. 3 of those 4 were taken to the hospital while the other refused treatment. Only one victim, a 15-year-old boy, is in critical condition. We know a .45 caliber handgun was recovered in the nearby streets of Grand Prairie.
Timothy Simpkins is in custody. He is currently in the police station at Odd Cribs in Arlington, Texas, and detectives are talking to him at this point in time. He will be charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 3 counts.
While it is illegal to have a firearm on the campus of a school, Governor Abbott says the gun used in this crime was illegally obtained.
The shooter, under Texas law, it is illegal for the shooter to either possess or to have purchased the gun that was used in this crime.
Footage from the shooting flooded social media, followed by threats to other schools in the area.
Our partners will be able to investigate you if you're not living in our city, and we will bring you to successful prosecution. So I'm just pleading with the community out there to try to stop any type of threats that are coming through social media.
Local police chiefs say all schools in the Mansfield Independent School District are closed as they process the crime scene, although there is no longer danger to the public. This will be a long-term investigation, but we will continue to give updates as they come. Katie and Mecca, back to you.
Thanks, Alyse. OU students gathered to march the South Oval this morning in support of women's reproductive rights. The Reproductive Rights March was put together by the OU Students for Reproductive Justice. The students are in support for all to have access to abortions and health care.
It's really hard for people to find that support when they're surrounded by people who don't believe in their rights. So we're wanting to make sure today that we're here supporting them and that they know that we're behind them and standing with them.
This comes after the restrictive anti-abortion bill that went into effect in Texas last month, which banned abortions after 6 weeks.
Governor Kevin Stitt is out of Oklahoma and paying a visit to the Lone Star State and the Mexican border. Tyler Deluca has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thanks, Katie. Yes, today Governor Kevin Stitt is visiting Texas to get a first-hand look at the U.S.-Mexico border situation. He's being joined by 10 other GOP governors, including the Texas Governor Greg Abbott. The trip will consist of a boat tour of the border and meetings with the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas Division of Emergency Management, and the National Border Patrol Council. The visit was created after 18 Republican governors sent a letter to President Biden asking to meet about the border. That meeting has yet to occur. And the Senate will not be suspending the debt limit due to a lack of GOP support. President Biden expressed his frustration with the Senate Republicans.
We have the votes. The Democrats are willing to step up and stop this economic catastrophe if Senate Republicans will just get out of the way. But our Senate Republican friends are planning to block the vote to raise the debt limit by using the procedural power called the filibuster.
The filibuster would require 60 yes votes for the ceiling to be raised. And new cybersecurity mandates have been brought down by the Transportation Security Administration. The new mandate will force companies to reach a baseline for cybersecurity. Companies in the railroad and aviation industries will be at the center of these new expectations. Companies will have to report cyber incidents to the federal government and have a cybersecurity point person on their staff. Contingency and recovery plans will also be required. And the search for Brian Laundrie continues now with the help of the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. back to you two at the desk.
The Oklahoma State Department of Health reports more than 1,000 new cases of COVID-19 today. This brings the active caseload to more than 10,000. The CDC says nearly 11,000 people have died from the virus. Overall, nearly half the state has been fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
It's a beautiful day here on campus, and I've really been enjoying this fall breeze.
Yes, me too. And today would be the perfect day to appreciate the fall weather at the pumpkin patch. Captain Liberta joins us live from Sooner Bloomers with the first look at our forecast.
Yeah, it is gorgeous outside right now here at Sooner Bloomer in Norman. Things are in full fall. They have plenty of fall spirit, with plenty of pumpkins, and it's starting to feel a little bit like summer. We've got temperatures across the state in the upper 70s and lower 80s, and these temperatures are going to continue to increase as we move into the weekend. If you're staying here for the OU Texas game, you're going to see temperatures in the 90s. Now, these very warm temperatures are not good for these pumpkins. They will cause them to rot, and so hopefully we are going to see some relief next week. You're going to want to stick around because Colton Williams has more coming up on when those cooler temperatures could arrive, and he's also got a first look at your OU Texas forecast. Ladies.
Thanks, Catherine. Hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil have spilled into the Pacific. Find out what caused the huge California spill when we return.
Plus, find out how OU students in a Norman church kicked off OU Texas Week after the break. Climate change is causing wildfires in Israel. Shannon Ehrhardt has that story and more in today's Earth Report.
An oil leak in Texas City, Texas caused chaos at the Galveston Bay refinery. A city official said a failed pump seal at Marathon Petroleum's refinery caused the leak, but doesn't know how much oil was released. The oil is currently contained on site, and the refinery says once the leak is under control, responders can make repairs and begin cleanup. And on the West Coast, a leaked pipeline in California spewed more than 100,000 gallons of oil into the Pacific. Currently, there's 16 cleanup teams that total 300 people who are hand cleaning and collecting oil debris. The Department of Fish and Wildlife says the oil is moving south towards San Clemente. The Coast Guard is doing flyovers and tracking the spill from boats. But on land, Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency and shut down Orange County harbor and beaches. The August forest fires in Israel are a dangerous and destructive effect of climate change. Thousands of acres of luscious hills near Jerusalem are now a blackened wasteland. With no firefighters on site, the forest supervisors try to keep the fires at bay, especially in areas close to hospitals. Fast-burning pines are swapped out with native plants and vineyards, vegetation that burns slowly, which is the difference between life and death. And over 10,000 plastic waste items in Indonesia are no longer waste. An environmentalist group opened a giant outdoor art museum to draw attention to single-use plastic. In a 3-month period, bags, bottles, and other polluting items now make up this exhibit in East Java, Indonesia. The museum's founder said the rivers are littered with plastic bottles, and he urges people to stop using them. It's great to see countries turning waste into art, isn't it, guys?
Yes, that is so awesome. Thank you, Shannon. OU Texas Week is often running in more ways than one. Since 1929, OU and Texas have kept the tradition with their annual matchup in Dallas at the Texas State Fair. But there's another annual tradition that took place this morning. OU and Texas Naval ROTC students left today with their respective teams' game ball in a 200-mile run to the Cotton Bowl.
So the run to Dallas, it's a really cool tradition we've been doing for over 20 years now. Basically, Lincoln Riley hands us the game ball, we run it down to Dallas, and then the University of Texas, they get their game ball, they run it up to Dallas, and then we meet in Dallas and we get to play flag football with them, and it's a lot of fun.
For updates on the OU ROTC run to Dallas, you can track their path on the OU Athletics Twitter account.
And before students travel down to Dallas for the OU Texas game this Saturday, the Wesleyan Norman held their annual tradition of Bevo Bash. Located on the corner of Lindsay and Elm, this event held annually had everyone from students to locals showing up to take their anger out on Texas. The car painted burnt orange was smashed and beaten by sledgehammers, golf clubs, and even baseball bats.
It's just one of those kind of traditions that happens every year. We kind of get out all our anger on Texas and any homework we have, and we smash a car. So it is honestly one of the most fun things that happens year round.
The tradition has become a staple during the OU Texas Week and hopes to show what will happen on the field this Saturday.
Norman police are working to bridge the gap between residents and law enforcement. When we come back, find out how they started their morning with the community and a cup of coffee.
And the nice weather won't be here for long. Apparently there's some rain coming in next week. Colton, what can you tell us?
It's been warm today, feels much more like August than October. We're going to talk about what your weekend with the OU Texas forecast and even a chance for severe weather next week. We'll have all that and more coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Sit down, we can talk, we can the concerns of the citizens.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us. I'm Colton Williams. We're taking a live look now towards the Oklahoma State Capitol. A pretty nice day out there today. It is warm, but once again, up Lincoln Boulevard, here's the state capitol sitting at 80 right now. So we are touching 80 again. Feels much more like August out there than October, but the dew point low, keeping us dry. The winds are variable. Not much to worry about out there today. It is beautiful, and again, it's dry. You see this low pressure system off to the east. That's been churning out here for the last several days, keeping us in this pattern where we have northerly wind flow, really keeping us high and dry over the last several days. So across the metro, here we go. Once again, lower 80s for most of us. 80 here in Norman, 81 in Purcell. How about an 82 in Fort Cobb? It is lower 80s. Again, pretty seasonably warm once again across the state. Same story. Lower 80s for our friends in the south and the southwest. Again, all across the state. So here we go. Same low pressure system. That's a tornado watch in northeastern Mississippi and northwestern Georgia as we check out now off of the Pacific Northwest coast. This whole system here, this is our next weather maker. This is what's coming through next week. So as we fast forward through this weekend, hotter once again for the Red River rivalry game. It is going to be warm whether you're staying in Norman or you're going to Dallas. But we load up here on Sunday. Here we go. This low pressure system now. You see this dip here. That is our first storm chances as we go into next week. And then as we fast forward on into the next several days, rain once again. And then on Monday, Tuesday, and into even Wednesday, a second storm, and even a more powerful storm lines up. And then we'll see some cooler temperatures come in after that. But the setup looks a little more spring-like than fall-like. Rich Gulf moisture coming in along a pretty strong jet stream. Going to be seeing some pretty high surface winds and a decent chance for all modes of severe weather as we go into this weekend. So on Sunday, this is the storm zone. Look for this to get updated and to get changed as we head into the next several days. You certainly want to stay updated on that because next week could be a substantial threat for severe weather. Lows tonight, middle to upper 50s for all of us. Highs tomorrow, warmer again than we were today. Upper 80s for most of us. And then as we head into this weekend, once again, there come those 90s. But those rain chances, lower temperatures come in next week. Ladies, that's all I've got. Back to you.
Thanks, Colton. This morning, the Norman police shared a cup of joe with the community for National Coffee with a Cop Day. Patrol officers, lieutenants, and even the chief of police made their way to Panera Bread at 7:30 to greet and chat with the community members. The event serves as an opportunity to bridge the gap between residents and law enforcement while having important conversations.
We can sit down, we can talk, we can hear the concerns of the citizens that are in their neighborhoods, and they can get to know us better. They can get to know our concerns as police officers as well. So it's a great opportunity for two-way communication.
The next Coffee with a Cop event has not been scheduled yet, but the city of Norman says they will schedule the next one in a few weeks.
That's amazing. And now it's time for sports. There's a big game coming up this weekend. Sol, you getting ready to head down to Dallas?
Oh, you know I'll be there, and I can't wait to go to the game, and neither can the Sooners. But before that, one of the biggest rivalries in sports got a one-game, winner-take-all matchup for the final wild card spot. Find out who survived in advance when sports returns.
This is...
Welcome back to a special rivalry edition of OU Nightly. I'm Saul Meyer, and let's talk about some sports. The Sooners take on the Longhorns in the 117th edition of the Red River Showdown this Saturday, coming off of the 4-overtime thriller that happened last year. Drake Stoops made the play of the game, catching the go-ahead touchdown in the 4th overtime, but he's more focused on other legendary plays in the OU Texas rivalry.
Probably when Trey Millard hurdled one Texas dude and then stiff-armed another and took it to the house. That was real cool. Or even Mark Andrews running a deep out and up to win that one year that Baker threw him. DeMarco Murray springing a long touchdown run, tiptoeing down the sideline. I mean, there's so many infamous plays that go on forever.
Speaking of making huge plays against Texas, today marks the 20th anniversary of the Superman play, when OU safety Roy Williams sacked and stripped Chris Sims. Teddy Lehman scored, but folks forget that after the kickoff, it was Williams who picked off Sims to completely seal the deal. Williams was scared to go to the sidelines because Mike Stoops had told him not to leave his feet on the Superman play.
I see Coach Stoops, I'm like, and if you ever watch the replay after that interception, you can see Mike Stoops. He grabs him around the neck and was like, good job, right? And then you can see him shake because it'll pan to another thing and then come back to that and you see him shaking. And it was like, I told you not to effing jump.
The biggest rivalry in baseball got one more game last night to duke it out for a playoff spot in the AL wildcard game. Xander Bogaerts blasted a 2-run shot over the center field wall to give the Red Sox an early 2-0 lead over the New York Yankees. They would never lose. They would hold off the Bronx Bombers for a 6-2 win, clinching their first playoff appearance since their 2018 World Series win. The playoff rivalries for the Sox don't end there as they take on another division rival in the Tampa Bay Rays in the next round. Moving over to the NL, the St. Louis Cardinals will take on the LA Dodgers in LA in the wildcard game tonight at 7. Former NFL Defensive Player of the Year Stephon Gilmore was traded from the New England Patriots earlier today after reports of him being released. The Patriots gave up the former All-Pro cornerback to the Carolina Panthers for a future 6th-round pick. From Ryder Cup teammates back to bitter enemies. Our final rivalry today is between Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka when they look to squash their beef when they go head-to-head in the next installment of Capital One's The Match. The two rivals will square off in Las Vegas Thanksgiving weekend in a 12-hole charity golf match that can be viewed on TNT. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for our Whiner of the Week. This week, it's Jacksonville Jaguars coach Urban Meyer, who might have had a little too much fun after their loss this past weekend.
I just apologize to the team and staff and for being a distraction. Just stupid. Should not have myself in that kind of position.
Urban missed the team bus back to Jacksonville so he could, as he said, eat with his family at his restaurant. But he had other things in mind. For being our winner this week, we have this nice bottle of Merlot for Coach Meyer that he will definitely enjoy sipping on down in Jacksonville. Back to you, ladies.
Thanks, Saul. And today, a Norman veteran is celebrating his 103rd birthday.
Find out about his special celebration when we return.
I'm Dana Searles at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Police in North Texas have arrested the person they say is responsible for a shooting at a high school in Mansfield, Texas. Timothy George Simpkins was taken into custody this afternoon. He was booked into jail in Arlington, Texas on 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. His bond was set at $75,000. 3 people were injured in the shooting. Detectives say the shooting was the result of a fight at the school and not a random act of violence.
Thank you, Dana. The Norman Veterans Center had a very special celebration today. Navy Chief Alan Vann celebrated his 103rd birthday. The former midshipman was serving in Honolulu when Pearl Harbor was bombed and was aboard the USS Seahorse during the World War II.
Chief Vann was able to celebrate alongside some of his children, other residents of the Veterans Center, and even got special guest visitors. Roughnecks and Little Sisters from the OU Spirit Squad gifted him a handful of Sooner gear just in time for the OU Texas game, including a football signed by head coach Lincoln Riley. 2 current Navy service members were also able to join the celebration and thank Vann for his many years of brave service.
The Lord was good to me, and I give him credit for whatever good happened to me in my lifetime, and my country, and all of you wonderful people.
Also added that his secret to living is to pray hard and keep moving.
I don't know about you, but I'm heading to Dallas in a few days.
Me too. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a great game. Well, that's all we have tonight for OU Nightly. I'm Mecca Thompson.
I'm Katie Arata.
Good night.